Welcome to Alafandi-Wonders channel, where impassable meet curiosity and science become conversation. This is our first episode, and we hope you enjoy it. This is X and Gene, your hosts. Today, we're taking a truly fascinating leap into the future of virtual reality. You might think of VR as, just for games, but it's evolving so fast. We're talking about something that could genuinely change how we learn, how we work, how we connect with everything.
That's right. It's not just about the tech getting better, though it definitely is. We're also seeing it pop up in some really surprising places already, especially fields like education and healthcare. It really feels like we're right on the edge of something big.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. When we talk about the future, it's kind of wild to think about where VR started. Wasn't the very first one back in the late 60s called the Sword of Damocles? This massive thing hanging from the ceiling.
Exactly. Huge and clunky. And now look where we are, sleek prototypes. And there's this real buzz, that in maybe just a few years, VR and AR could be, almost like regular glasses.
That comparison to early computers is interesting too. You know how they filled whole rooms.
Right, and now we got all that power and much more just in our pockets with smartphones. The expectation is that immersive tech will do the same thing, get smaller, more powerful, blend in more. It really points towards a complete rethink of how we even interact with digital stuff.
So here's a thought that really jumped out. How we might actually use VR day to day. One idea is that VR might become more like, say, your workstation, or settling in to watch a movie, something you specifically use for a focused, really high quality immersive experience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe not something you'd wear walking down the street constantly. That feels more like augmented reality, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That distinction seems pretty key right now. VR for deep immersion, AR for overlaying info onto the real world. But the thinking is that eventually they'll likely merge.
Merge? How so?
Well, as AR glasses get better, maybe showing a full field of view, and VR headsets get good cameras to see outside. The lines just get blurrier and blurrier. That's why you hear people using that broader term, immersive technologies. It covers both.
Okay. So the big headset and the separate glasses might just become one thing down the line.
That's the potential, yeah. And that merging really opens up some really interesting ways we could interact with digital and physical stuff all at once.
It paints this picture where our physical world and our digital world get much more tangled up. It sounds a bit like science fiction.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man with his displays, or Ready Player One, or even Star Wars. Those worlds where virtual stuff is just normal.
Right. And looking at the bigger picture, the feeling is that these immersive technologies could be as transformative as, say, the internet was, or mobile phones, or social media. It's not just games or niche applications, it's potentially a fundamental shift.
Someone even suggested VR will let us live in a new dimension. That sounds, both exciting and a bit mind-bending. Now let's zoom in on one area where this future is already kind of starting to take shape. Education. The idea of VR offering hands-on learning seems like a huge leap from just textbooks.
It really is. Instead of just reading about something or seeing a picture, VR can put you in it. That feeling of presence, of being immersed, seems to really help with understanding and remembering things, especially for, science, engineering, medicine, art, even learning a language.
Definitely. Like imagine learning astronomy. Instead of a flat diagram, you could actually feel like you're floating past Jupiter, seeing the scale of it all.
Exactly, and that's happening. There are apps like Titans of Space where you can do just that, or think about chemistry. There are tools like Nenome where you can literally build and play with 3D molecules, see how they interact.
Wow, like shrinking down to the molecular level. And it's not just science, right? You mentioned museums.
Yeah, virtual museum tours. Google Arts and Culture, for example. You can get right up close to famous paintings, maybe closer than you could in real life. And history, too. There's an experience called Nefertari, Journey to Eternity, where you can explore the actual tomb of the Egyptian queen.
It's like having a time machine and a teleporter rolled into one. What about languages? That seems like a perfect fit, too.
It is. There are apps like Immerse Me that put you in virtual scenarios, ordering coffee, asking directions where you practice speaking with virtual native speakers, or virtual speech for things like practicing job interviews or presentations in another language. It builds confidence in a safe space.
One of the concepts I thought was really cool was this idea of a 3D computer using AR glasses, like learning anatomy by seeing a holographic skeleton floating right there in the room with you.
Yes. It just makes sense, doesn't it? We live in a 3D world, our bodies are 3D, so learning about them in 3D seems much more intuitive.
That spatial understanding must be way better.
Exactly. Interacting with these virtual or holographic models can give you a much deeper grasp of complex stuff.
And it's not just like super specialized fields either. I saw that big companies like Walmart even are using VR for training staff on basic skills, customer service, even handling tricky situations.
Right, which shows it's practical now. It underlines that idea of active learning. There's this concept, the cone of experience, which suggests we remember much more of what we do compared to what we just read or hear. VR lets you do things.
So it's not just flashy tech, it actually taps into how we learn best. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. What about healthcare? That seems like another area with huge potential.
Oh, absolutely. The possibilities in medicine are really exciting. For starters, medical training. Students can use virtual cadavers to learn anatomy, practice procedures without any risk to real patients.
That must be incredible for building skills and confidence safely.
It really is, and it goes beyond training. VR therapy is showing real promise. For instance, treating phantom limb pain, basically tricking the brain by showing a virtual limb. Or for anxiety and phobias, using exposure therapy in a controlled virtual setting.
That's amazing. Using VR to tackle real physical and mental health issues.
Exactly. And think about complex surgeries, like brain surgery. VR allows the whole surgical team to walk through the entire operation beforehand, planning every step in a virtual model of the actual patient.
Wow, that could make a massive difference in safety and outcomes.
It certainly has that potential. And there's more. VR simulations can help doctors develop empathy. They can experience certain conditions from the patient's viewpoint. And there's really interesting work using VR to help kids and adults with autism practice social skills in a safe, predictable virtual world.
That could be genuinely life-changing for people who struggle with social interactions.
This is the end of our video today. I hope you enjoy it. Please support our channel by pressing like, subscribing, and see you in the next video.